Hi, hello, and welcome back. It's a wee while since I filmed the DIY box sort of look through, have a look at the contents of it. I've done another series since then, which you may have seen, which was the scrapbook creations, which was a journal that we made from entirely bits of scrap and rubbish out of my little scrap box, which was quite cool to make. You might have noticed the videos that I filmed for that. I didn't speak, main reason because I hate the sound of my own voice, and I say an awful lot. So there she goes again. Yeah, I decided to do clips and captions with that one, but do you know what? I'm not technically minded. It was a faff, and it seems to take an absolute age to sit and do all the editing and all. God, my hands look really fat. Let me just zoom out a little bit. To do all the editing and bits and pieces that went along with that, and using an app to do the editing, it was a nightmare. So it's probably just much easier if I just suck it up and speak, which you'd think, bearing in mind that I've been on telly a couple of times now doing this, it wouldn't bother me, but it really does. So bear with all the and ands and pauses as I try and think of something interesting to say. So I've just finished the last of my Etsy orders that I had to do today, and I'm just tidying up from that. The flip through I will probably have uploaded by now, so you'll have had a look inside the DIY box. You'll get and have an idea of what is included in the DIY box. I wonder if that's easier to do. I don't know what anybody else does with their YouTube videos, but the setup is just a bloody nightmare, isn't it? I've got a stand which is sort of a that shape. You clamp onto a shelf, and then there's sort of an arm that comes out and holds the phone in place, because I assume most people film on their mobile phone, and that films sort of, you can put it above you, and I've had it sort of leaning over to the side, in which case whenever I picked up my tool, that's like all you could see. I decided, and it didn't have a light on it either, which is quite annoying, so I bought a circular one, which is a circular base with a telescopic pole, and it holds the phone in place, but as soon as you put the phone on, it tips up. It's too heavy. The bases need to be weighted, and I've looked everywhere and everybody seems to have the same problem. So if anybody does have any ideas of what I can use to do this instead of this big lever, which is literally probably about 6 inches from my face at the minute, is the camera. I mean, literally my face is like, the edge of it is here. Yeah, it's really quite annoying and quite off-putting, and you look like you're sort of on an angle. I wonder if I should move my mat over a little bit, because I don't know, maybe the OCD's kicking, it's really bothering me. But anyway, so what we're going to do then, as I promised previously, was make a DIY journal from scratch, should I say, not from scrap. I've dug out some of the show kits that I use. So these are the kits that I took on TV with me to put out on display and show everybody what you got. So I have a beginner's kit. There's no journal because I obviously used it. The beginner's kit is going to be listed on my website on the Etsy shop soon. You can already get it on Create and Craft. Createandcraft.com is fantastic if you want to buy big brands, you want to buy really well established, well known quality stuff. Lots of big companies. They have some smaller companies like me as well. I mean, obviously, as you may or may not know, I'm a one-man band. It's just me in my little room, which actually used to be my daughter's nursery, but is now just a little, I can't say studio, that's ridiculous. Craft room, rubbish room, junk room, little room. And so they have smaller sort of companies like me, but they also have the big brands. So if you're looking to invest and to buy some decent kit, a really great outlet. Etsy, alternatively, again, everybody knows, I think most people know about Etsy by now, predominantly handmade independent sellers. It's all I've ever done up until the point of going on TV. I trialed another couple of sites or a couple of sort of new startups that I had a go and they weren't successful. They weren't particularly present on social media. They didn't seem to do a lot of advertising. There's a couple of others that I'm pondering over. I've been invited onto another couple which I'm thinking about, but currently all of my things you can buy either on Create and Craft, so it used to be Craft Store, createandcraft.com or Etsy. Create and Craft is more for kits. I don't think they're particularly interested in the little bitty back bits that I sell. It's not really cost effective to sell those sorts of things on there, so I stick to the larger kits on Create and Craft. So all of my kits are available on there, as well as Etsy, with the exception of a butterfly kit which I created the first time I was on Create and Craft. So that is exclusive to them, so they have that and that alone. They have exclusivity for a certain amount of time, and then I will list them on my Etsy as well. If you want to buy from perhaps other handmade sellers or some of my other bits and pieces, my paper packs are only available on Etsy. I do often get sort of bulks of cling stamps and list those for sale. My glass pens are really popular on there. I managed to get my mitts on the blue and the pink glass pens often, so they sell on Etsy. So all of my items are on Etsy. Some of them are on Create and Craft, so depending on where you want to buy from, you know, a big brand name like Create and Craft or the smaller sort of independent Etsy, you know, totally your choice. Both fantastic setups. Have I been politically correct enough there? I think I have. Right, so these are, yeah, as I say, these are the kits that I put on telly. I haven't actually opened this since I was on telly, and I'm hoping it's a complete kit, because I've decided to set myself some rules with the DIY kit. I'm only going to use what's in this box. I'm not going to use any of my other bits and pieces. I'm going to show you that you can create a really cool journal. There's probably enough stuff in here to create more than one. If you were to add other little bits and pieces, you're probably going to run out of pages, because there's only enough pages for one journal in here. But with the embellishments and bits and pieces, I think you can make more than one, but certainly one journal. That's the point of it. So I'm only going to use what's in here, with the exception of my glues, my inks, colours, but none of the embellishments, none of the I'm not going to use any other fabric. I am going to use my sewing machine, I am going to use my heat gun, that sort of thing, but other than actually, you know, actual physical pieces is all going to come from here. So, and if this hasn't got all of the bits and pieces in, this video was a waste of time and I'm going to have to start again. So let's see. Oh, it looks like it is the complete kit actually from the telly. So this is pretty much what you get. Shall I zoom out a little bit? Oh, I am zoomed out. All right, okay. So every kit will vary. If you've had the kit and you look and say, oh, I didn't get that little bit, obviously I have a finite amount of things. The thing about my kits are a lot of it is hand sourced, a lot of it is hand sourced and then reproduced, so you'll get some original vintagey pieces. These little, like, sometimes I'll put little snippets of lace in, depending on what I've got in stock. So I've got myself some bits of ribbon and trim. Should we sort these out then? Can you see if I do that? Some little pearl trim. I'm not going to use these because I have others, but these are what you get in, excuse me, in terms of tools. Needle and thread I've already got. That's annoying. There's never a good way to tie these. I've sort of threaded them through. Yeah, you get a little stamp. I've stopped putting the washi in because it's rubbish, let me be honest. It's just thin little bits of token washi that I popped in the boxes, and it's crap. So I've kind of stopped putting the bits of washi in and just over embellish with other bits and pieces instead. You will get an awl. Sometimes it'll be the wooden handled ones, sometimes it's the plastic ones. These are just little plain fine metal ones with the little rubber caps. The wooden awls are prettier. These are safer because they come with the little wooden caps. I was really conscious of putting the wooden awls in that didn't have the tip covers. I didn't want somebody delving into the box and spearing themselves, so I actually went for these in quite a lot. And they're tiny and handy and don't take up a lot of room. So these are the tools that you will get. Again, all the stamps are different. The colour, or even sometimes the brand of ink, is different. But those are pretty much your tools. So I'm going to put those to one side. She says if I have a side to put them, I'll stick them over here. Lots of these. I'm lucky enough to know a lovely lady named Gwen who provides me with lots of fabric. I rescue lots of fabric from her that would otherwise go in the bin. Is that not the essence of junk journaling? That you're using you know, junk and discarded items and ephemera that people don't want. So I rescue these. So I literally just cut these down with the pinking shears, and I love using these as page tabs, especially the bits that are paper backed, because they're really easy to stick. So just cut them down and use those page tabs. They're really cool. So, well, we'll see anyway. Some of my little butterflies. So this is the fabric I've got in this one. I love this fabric. I mean, how, it's a bit dark in here, but how nice is that? The piece of fabric you get is massive as well. I mean, you can see that that's my hands. It's huge. It's plenty big enough for what you'd want. So I've got some fabric, a bit more lace. Everybody got a vintage piece of, keep getting off camera, don't I? A vintage piece of doily as well, which is really nice. We used it on the front somehow with the, anyway. Got my ribbon, a couple of buttons in here. Buttons look really pretty, but if you go overboard, they just add bulk. So I'm always a bit wary about using buttons, but anyway. Some little diamantes. I like to trim these down and use them as just a little bit of bling on your butterflies. But yeah, bits of cheesecloth, lace, little these fat quarters, I don't know, little scraps of fabric, bit of knitting, one of the plain, all right, so these are the embellishments, so let me keep those together. And then you see, this is where we get into my sort of reproduced bits and pieces. These are from old vintage sewing cards. Either nice for sort of like a little tab on a journaling tag, or a journaling card, or just a little tuck. They're really cute. So there's more little embellishments, more fabric. You see, depending on what look you wanted, I try and put, I think either 2 or maybe 3 in some cases, bits of fabric in. They're always going to be big enough to create a cover out of. I'll make sure I do. I'm quite careful about that. You see, this is quite a grungy one. So do I want grungy or do I want the green fabric? This is the question. More little tabby pieces. Some stamps, some washi. Little bits. Now these are the bigger pieces, so tags. These do all come much neater packaged. These I literally just stuck back in the box when I'd finished the show. See some of it. Oh, look at her. I love her. She's going on the cover. Definitely going on the cover. You see, my idea was when I created these kits was there were going to be lots of different little pieces of focal points that you could use. So I mean, that would make a nice cover. You know, you could back something, I don't know, you could sort of back it and create that as your little cover and a little cluster, because that's an original as well. That's a seed card packet. But yeah, I sort of put lots of little focal pieces in, so you can use them either for the cover or you could use them for a tag. Like the little playing cards. I mean, these are original playing cards, but how pretty are they? Can you see? Where's the bloody camera there? Really cute. So that's some ledger paper, so we can use that as one of the pages, I think. These are really old, 1913, if you can see that. Excuse my nails, they need doing. Yeah, I put these as well in sort of a little, if anybody wants to use a little label for the front, another playing card. He's cool. Oh, I've got a little envelope in there. A few blank tags. I think these are from the other kit actually. There's that, I don't recall putting quite as many cards in, so I'm going to ditch some of these because that's unfair. I'm going to just keep one. I think I've stuck more than one kit in here, so this probably looks very, very full. But I mean, the kits you do get are very, very full. But I think in terms of tags, I think there are a few too many in this one. So this is the collage fodder, just bits of, well, collage fodder, bits and pieces that you might want to use to do your bits of collaging and decor and stuff. Let's get them on the top. Oh, this is the, everybody gets an original envelope. I try and put the older ones in if I have them. Some of them are sort of 60s and 70s, but some of them are much older. I mean, we've got George on there, so I don't know how old this is. So this is going to be well, 75, 80 years old, isn't it? So what does that make it? I can't see the date, but anyway, I love the text on that. Instructions. I don't know if I showed you this last time. You do get a set of instructions, which we'll work through. In fact, we'll do it properly. We'll work through those. See some more book pages. So, as I showed you previously in the kit, you get a pack of 10 A4-ish pieces of paper that would act as your pages. You also get a book page pack. So these I've kept, other than the ones, I mean, I created some of these. So this one is one that I've made, and this is one that I've made from old pieces of ephemera. So again, that's designed so you fold it over, you have the two pieces. This one is designed so if you wanted to use some upright you could, but actually I put the flowers on that way and the butterflies facing up on this. So again, when you fold it in half to create a page, you've got quite a pretty page. So you do get the 10 sheets of paper, but you get a book page pack as well, which you could either use to do collaging. You could make them as extra pages. You could, I mean, you could do whatever you want with them. We'll have a place. So they will have come out of the book page pack. You may remember they're all individually packaged, so it's clearer than a box of stuff like I've got. So that's the 10. We'll put the book pages and everything together. This is the card base. Mine's got a bit bent, but this is the card base that you get. So it's a decent thick quality. It's pre-scored, and this will be your cover. Whether you want to cover it with fabric, with scrap paper, with a collage. So you get 3 sheets of scrapbook paper. See, in this we get a nice shiny blue. That's pretty, I like that. That's more of a delicate paper. And then, I see that's a bit busy for me, but you get just 3 random bits of scrap paper. Different weights. This one's a thinner one, but it is double-sided. You see, you could do a plainer cover as well with that one. But, and I try and get 3 different styles because it's difficult, isn't it? Not everybody's got the same taste. Some people would look at that and think it's beautiful. I think that's hideous. It's way too busy for me. I would mute that down with gesso and probably work on the top of it. That I like. I like the grungy look. I like some sort of delicate, pretty sort of haberdashery Parisian sort of styles as well. But on the whole, grunge is my thing. So I love that. But there we go. So that's the 3 scrapbook papers that you get. So this is part of the ephemera pack now in here under the bottom that we get. I don't know what was in there. We've got another envelope, some stickers. So yeah, this is, so we get some, you get a sticker pack, you get some tickets. This is all the ephemera that you get. You get a napkin as well if you want to do some decoupaging. See, some of the collage fodder that you get is literally, I mean, I try and create as much of it as I can. So some that you'll get is snippets of scrapbook paper. Some that you get is, I mean, that's a jelly print piece, but I think that's really cool. So I love putting those in. Napkin we'll put to one side. I think, oh, you see, that's another original. Are they cigarette cards, those, or tea cards? Tea cards, Brook Bond tea cards. See, again, that would make a really nice focal point. I hope you've been able to see all this. See, this is the thing with the camera. It drives me insane. It's like it's pointing the wrong direction. It needs to be sort of overhead, really. It needs to be higher. I wonder if I can... Oh, and then I do that. That's not working. Drives me mad. Is that any better? You can see less now. Right. Let's try that. These are the 3 wallpaper pieces that we get. Yeah, see, these are the bags that everything comes in. So they are all properly labelled: ephemera, tools, tags, collage fodder, and that'll be book pages, and fabric. So you get all the individual bags. And again, you can use these, you know, and we'll use some of these because, again, that's what junk journaling is about. You use your stuff you got, you use your stash, you reuse, you don't waste anything. So this is some, I like this because it's really thin wallpaper. Pattern is all right, and it's something I could work with. I would probably do a lot of maybe gesso to mute it down a little bit and then work on top, but I like that it's a proper wallpaper, but it's quite a thin paper. I mean, you can probably, I don't know if you can tell how thin that is. It's really thin, but it is an actual vintage wallpaper. And when they're thin, it's going to be easy to work onto your cover. You're going to be able to bend it and crease it better, and it's going to fit better and probably adhere a little bit better. This is, you see, when I say I like grungy, then I like sort of delicate, pretty things. This is what I mean. It's such a pity that this portion isn't further over. But I think you could probably get that to fit on your card. But I love that. I think that's so nice. And then this is, you can't obviously tell on, it's all wallpaper by the way, but you probably can't tell on the camera, but the texture of this, it feels like it would be waterproof almost, like probably wipe clean. It's a really nice solid texture. And I think I like the colours. I like the colour palette as well, so that's nice. Bit more at the book page pack. More at the book page pack. And that's it. Yeah, you see there's your tickets and stamps. So all of what I'm going to do, my ephemera and scrappy crappy bits, with the exception of the good stuff. So yes, here's the card. Yeah, all of these are the bits I'm going to stick in here because those are the sort of decorative bits. The envelopes and embellishments and pieces I'm going to keep to one side because we can use those to work with. It's for decor and tags and stuff. And I think first and foremost, what we'll do today, I'm going to put the scraps of fabric and stuff in as well. I'm going to shut those, that's off my desk. What we're going to do today, I think, is the cover. So we'll make a start on that, and then we'll, in the next one, I think we'll have a think about pages and if we're going to have any sort of interactive elements. I don't know if you saw the scrap, but well, I've got it here. If you saw the scrapbook journal that we did, I love the extra little flippy flappy bit on the front. So the little interactive elements. You've got a pocket inside, which is literally made out of one of these guest checks that you get here that I grungied up. Used, well, you'll have seen, I used a distress stain, I think it was, the little daubers to sort of hit it. I saw somebody do it. I don't know if it was 49 Dragonflies, the lady's name escapes me, but to make the splash mark, and I love it. I think it's fab. So yeah, so the interactive elements, like again the envelope at the back that we decoupage that folds right out, these are the things you need to have a think about before you finish your construction. I made the error, you may recall, of creating this tab effect flip on the front and attaching it before I stitched my pages in. That was a nightmare. That was a proper lesson in how not to stitch in your signature, because it was a pain to do. So there you are. Let's stick those back in there with the other bits and pieces. So I'm going to shove that to one side. Where is my card base? There is my card base. So this is the card that we're working with. Oh, I'm going to get on your nerves moving this on. I'm just constantly readjusting the bloody thing. So there's my card base. So my options were the scrapbook paper, the wallpaper. Now, the last couple of times I've been on telly doing this, I used wallpaper and I used scrapbook paper. The main reason I used those was fear. I didn't want to stuff up using the fabric on national television. If anybody was unfortunate enough to tune in and see me, you may remember the good old glue that I sat there like this forever trying to get to come out of the blinking bottle. And I knew if I tried to use fabric, I couldn't get away with cheating and using anything else. I was going to have to stand there awkwardly forever waiting for the glue to come out. So I bottled it, and I used scrapbook paper the first time, and I think I used wallpaper the second time, or the other way around, I can't remember. But we're not bottling it this time because I can always press stop and record again. So I'm going to use fabric. I just don't know if I want to go, which way I want to go. So do you see what I mean about the size? If I were to open this out fully, I don't know if you get all that on camera, you have got, if I pull that up a little bit, you have got ample space. Again, if I flip that over, can you see, to make a second journal? So you've got tons of fabric here. which also means you can pick and choose the bit that you want on the cover. See, I could make it so I've got this on the cover, the big flower, but if I want a focal point, I'm not sure. I think when you use this, it was a shame to sort of cover it up properly, unless you're going to go for a really heavy layered look, which is nice, which is cool. But I don't want to. If I make one out of this, I think I want it quite plain, and I think I'd make quite a simple, not a lot of inked up sort of journal. So I think I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to use the other stuff. I'm going to use this because I think this and this will look nice together, and I'm going to go grunge. It's not like me. I'm going to go grunge. Where's my little lady gone? There she is. And I want her on the front because I think she's pretty, and I love that photograph. And again, these are original. Oh, my sister E, well, it looks like E Bangs, but M, George and Sue's wedding. Oh, Sue, are you at Sue or are you M? I don't know. I like you. I like that. Sometimes I feel a bit weird using photographs. I just wonder if they've got any sort of living relatives and somebody's watching it and like, that's my great aunt Sue, you know. If it's your great aunt Sue, drop me a line because she's lovely and I love her, and I'm going to make her the very, very beautiful focal point of my journal. So I digress. Let's open this up. So again, you see I've got quite a huge piece here. Probably not enough to make... Oh no, you would have enough to make 2 journals. Oh, there you go. Look at that. Can you see that? I can't possibly zoom out anymore. If I lift this up anymore, it's going to drop down again. Oh, I hate this. If anybody has any ideas of how to sort this thing out for somebody who's a technological capacity of a sponge, then please do tell me. So this is going to be my cover. This is going to be the no, this is going to be the front. I like the dark textures. I think that will look nice with some of this on the front. I don't know if I'm going to use all of it yet. So I definitely want this on the front. So shall we just do it? Should we just go for it? Now, she says, let's fold this up. I've already got crap off my desk on it. I remember the first time I got into junk journaling and I saw somebody using a bone folder. And I remember thinking, why? What's the point? Just use your hand. What's wrong with you? And you could use the size of your scissors, but you know what? They're marvellous and I use them every day. But it just goes to show, doesn't it? When I first looked, I was like, what? It's a stick. Why are you buying a stick? Who's wasting the money on a stick? I've got about 10. They're really handy. So if I just pretend I've already cut this down, let's fold that in and fold that in. That would be my front. I like that. I'm going to do it. This is the point, however, where you should think, if you are going to want to attach any closures, if you are going to want to cover the inside, if you're going to want to maybe do any hand stitching. I do like a bit of hand stitching on the front. I definitely want some of this. I just don't know how I want it. I mean, that feels like a natural sort of, but I quite like looping them over the back so you have a bit of interest on the back as well. See, maybe something like that. And then what else have I got? So I don't want to use all the bits up for the front, but that's nice as well. Where's she gone? Where have you gone, Sue? Should we call you Sue? I think it's Sue. That, and maybe a bit of... Now this is where your collage fodder comes in handy. I'm just going to just get rid of that because it's beautiful, but I'm not using it. So I'm just going to chuck that out of the way. I'm going to try and pick up on some of these background colours. Now that is clearly a grey colour, but it's almost like, you can see, it's almost like got a purpley kind of sheen to it. Look at the ink under my thumbnail. That's wrong, isn't it? Yeah, I'm going to... And I do have a bit of purple on the ribbon. Oh, that's a bit bright. Might have to ink that. So if we have a look at our collage fodder, something to maybe we need a colour under there. It's very muted and I want something to lift her a little bit. So this is why I love the collage fodder. It's a bit red. Maybe that's a bit red. Or maybe some of the newsprint type of stuff. Everybody gets some of this in there as well. Is that a bit samey? I could do that. And I've got any labels or... What else have we got in here? See, that's a... That could work. If I backed that on there and had a bit of a cluster. Can you see? She might need a bit of cheesecloth as well. Oh, little doily to kind of go. It's really sad, isn't it? I get proper excited. I've put the bloody thing together. But I had to make I had to create like 50 kits in about, I see lots of, you do get these. These ones are reproductions. These were big cabinet cards that I had, still have. And I've reproduced them or shrunk them down, reproduced them to basically create the same effect. Obviously, these aren't cheap, and they're not particularly common, you know, the vintage photographs. They're not easy to get your mitts on all the time. So to reproduce, I mean, you're going to get the same sort of look and effect out of using this than you would this. I just want to use that. But you do get lots of these in your kits as well. I see there's a pretty little girl as well. Yeah, that's another one. It's a little strip. Now this was my fear about this video, that it's going to be a lot of me being indecisive because I do this. Oh, they look nice. Yeah, maybe some of that. But I do this, I spend forever just sitting, because you want it right. I think, yeah, we're going to have a lot of blue and purple tones in this, I think. Yeah, you do, you want it right, but it's probably not terribly exciting for you to watch me and ah over stuff. That's that same bit of ribbon. Yeah, some people have got some little... I whipped up a load of these and sort of split them between some of the sets. As I say, every set's different. You may have got some, you may not. You'll have got other bits and pieces. They all vary. There, purple button, that's what I was looking for. After I dist the buttons, I actually might stick one on there. Bit of cheesecloth. Now, I say cheesecloth. It is a cheesecloth. These are actually, if you wanted to pick some up yourself, bits of gauze that you'd get in a first aid kit. But they look fantastic. Colour them up a little bit. They look fab. Sort of grungied up underneath. And it create, I mean, that's a pink version that's been dyed pink. But you can use a distress ink and get the same sort of effect. And I'll show you how to do that. Little butterfly. I don't know, you're too bold. That's too bright. Maybe for the inside, but the cover I definitely want to stay super grunge. A little label. You're the same sort of tone. Oh dear. What are you? Have I dyed that? I think I've coloured that. Sticker. Took some of those out and see. Not sure if they're a bit modern. Oh, there's another label. These are old reproduction envelopes. These make wonderful pockets. Pockets, tucks, how pretty is that? Pockets, tucks, and journaling cards. If you don't want to go overly decorative, that with a bit of, I don't know, something as a, probably not some, it's probably the worst thing I could have picked up. A bit of something as a tab to create as a little journaling card, probably half the size of that. But yeah, cool. What are you? You're just strips of stuff. Right, no. Oh, I could stitch some of that on. Right, I might stitch some of that on. Right, so here's some bits. What time are we on? 35 minutes of me waffling. We've not stuck a thing down yet. God. So don't want to use you yet. So this is what I want on the front, definitely. I like this. I might do sort of a several layered backing. I might do that. Do you know what I mean? Sort of, if you can ink the edges to define them, have quite a few sort of layered with just a thin bit peeking round, layer onto layer. That might look quite cool. I might do that. Do I want to stitch any pearls on here? Do I want a little... What do I want to do? I'm going to create the cluster first. That's what I'm going to do, because otherwise you're just going to watch me in silence. I might put some of that in. I'm not putting any of that in. Right, let's stick these to the other side of us. We'll think about those in a minute. First things first, let's show you how to do this. So I need to change the colour of that. It's far too stark, like it doesn't go. I'm just going to grab, I've just put all of my stuff on it, but I'm going to grab my glass mat. I really want one of the big glass mats, but I bought one of the travel size ones. Because I like this mat, the self-cutting, self-healing mat. But then sometimes I don't half regret getting the big glass mat, because they're so handy. That, you know, I never really saw value to paying out for Tim Holtz stuff, because it isn't cheap, let's face it. It is more expensive, but God, it's worth it for the quality of the stuff. And I genuinely do use it, as Tim says, use this as an ink palette. And if I'm doing any sort of watercolour fodder pieces or anything, I do. It's fab. So shall we, what shall we do? Shall we do, I don't know whether to do it in two actually, and have some darker brown and have some of the maybe sort of purpley tones, like a dusty Concord or something. So I'm going to do, yeah, I'm going to do two bits. And I've got my tin, Wilted Violet, Dusty Concord, that one. I love the oxides. The inks, the Distress inks are brilliant and they're nice. I always use oxides. I just think they're so much more user-friendly, and you can get such a fantastic effect once you activate them with the water. I think they look brilliant. So excuse all the crap on here. You should probably use a clean surface, but hey ho. So squidge a bit on, bit of water. Always easier to wet the thing, the fabric, whether you're going to do this with ribbon, fabric, cheesecloth or whatever. I think it just helps it absorb the colour a little bit more. Give it a good squidge. I've already got ink on my hand anyway from earlier. And let's give that a bit of a mix through. I used to pay out for coloured cheesecloths, and I used to pay quite a bit, buy all different colours, and then I saw somebody do this with sari silk, and I was like, why don't I just do that? Why don't I just save myself an absolute flipping fortune? You know, junk journaling is supposed to be about reusing and being a bit more environmentally friendly, and I don't know if you can see that. That looks amazing. Yeah, and using what you've got and using your stuff up, and there's me paying out for someone to spend 10 seconds squirting a bit of stuff on some cheesecloth. So that's the purpley. I think just maybe one layer of that might, we'll see. And then I'm going to use the walnut stain. It's a deeper colour than the vintage photograph. It's a lot harsher a brown, but I really like it. I've got right into it recently. Once upon a time, everybody used vintage photo. Now they seem to use the walnut stain. It's like a new thing, but I love it. It's great. See, I've dyed my fingers again. Should probably recommend you wear gloves or something with this, but where would be the fun in that? Do we reckon reckon that's dark enough. It looks like I've dipped it in my tea. Yeah, I like. As clean as that mat has looked in donkeys. Right, this is the boring bit now. Now, I did warn you, I don't know anything about technology or recording videos or anything, which also means I don't know how to edit little bits out, so you are going to now watch me dry some fabric. So I'm hoping it's not too noisy. But I want to get on and do this before. I've determined not to make any of these longer than an hour because I think that's long enough. But as I say, if I don't know how to edit the video and cut bits out, then you're going to have to just sit and watch me. So whilst they're drying off, I'm thinking if I layer one on top of the other, it will mute the colour of this a little bit, but just give it enough lift to just brighten the back of that. Or it might look terrible, I don't know, we'll find out. But the gauze, you can get a whole pack of this gauze just from a Wilko's supermarket, you know, the big online retailer that everybody uses that nobody likes. You can get it from there really cheap, and it goes such a long way. I mean, or you can buy packs of cheesecloth and just cut them up and colour them yourselves, but the gauze is just handy. They're just handy sizes. Oh, still a little bit down there, sorry. I could do a dance, but you can't see me. I'll do. Oh! Rookie mistake. Right, so it is still a bit wet, but never mind. So do you see my thinking? A bit of layering. If it doesn't look too vibrant, watch it, I won't end up using it now. So I'm definitely going to have this as my back piece, I think, and I'm going to turn it on its side. I don't mind stuff obviously the right way up or on the sides. I hate putting stuff upside down. I don't know what it is. Some people think that it's better to use sort of background pieces upside down because it means that you're not focusing on that, you're looking at the actual focal point, which kind of makes sense, but I can't bring myself to do it. It drives me insane. So if we back you on there, do you need to be a bit closer to see all this? Is that better? I don't know if it's out of focus now though. Now if I do think the purple's too much now I've done it. It really is too much. I wonder if I can squirt it a little bit and dull it down. I've got a really leaky bottle of vintage photo distressing. Yeah, it's too bright. Well, that's not quite what I was going for, but I wonder if that's a bit better. I got rid of the cloth. Oh, it was clean. Let's start cleaning that side up now. Right, let's dry that up a bit. I'm just going to end up using the other piece, I imagine, but at least I got to show you how to do it. Probably best not to stick your hand in front of these heat tools as well, because I've burnt myself more times than I can remember. Yeah, so you've got a really different look there. So this one was the walnut stain. This one is the vintage photo and dusty Concord. I'm going to cut a bit down. I think the harsh edges are not helping. Put it on the white so we can actually see what we're doing. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for it and I'm going to choose it. So, right, first things first. I am going to want to stitch around this as well. Question is, do I want anything else? Yeah, I like that. Yeah, do I want anything else on the back of it? So we're going to, oh, I feel sad covering that up, but I'm going to. See, this is what I meant about being on the telly. Imagine me just standing there to like adhere down an entire huge massive bit of fabric, like an absolute plant pot, just holding the glue, just like, oh. It's exactly what happened though with one of the bits I did. The glue wasn't coming out and the presenter sort of stopped speaking, and I think I tried to make a really awkward joke about it, and it was so cringe. So cringe. Is that my worst nightmare? Right, I'm going to stretch this over a little bit. We're on 45. So we were only going to get the cluster done today. We're not going to get the cover done, it seems. This is going to be a long series. There we go. Now, all stuck on. I'm going to snip off the harsh edges where they've sort of curled up a bit. I don't like it. And I don't like when there's tons and tons of fabric hanging out. I think it looks too purposeful. If that makes sense. It kind of looks, a bit, I don't know, it doesn't look, you know, when you put the bits of fabric, I imagine that it's like it was originally backed on fabric and it's genuinely frayed over time. That's kind of the look I'm going for. I don't know how often you back a photograph on fabric, but that's not the point. But if you've got a massive hanging bit of fabric, it's just, yeah, your focal point gets lost, and yeah, I don't like it. So something like that. So I'm just going to go for it. These extra little bits I'll save. Oh, can you even see any of this? Let me zoom back out a little bit. I will get this right one day, you know. Sort of there-ish. But is the page edge getting on my nerves now? I think it might be. A nice little crookedy bit. There we go. Yeah, so that just kind of on the back. Like it. Right, ink it. So, my big fat arm in the camera. More walnut stain, and just to give the edges a bit of definition, I'm just going to go around it. You probably won't see it particularly, but once you get the background, this bit on, it'll just give a bit of definition when you're using quite a samey colour palette. I think it just sort of makes the piece you're using stand out. Yeah, so you don't really see much of it, but just the extra, just those little bits that you get, and once you get it onto here, I think that's going to help. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stand here with this glue again for 20 minutes. You have to wait for like the bubble to go to the top, but it's so annoying. I'm going to just put a blob of glue in the centre because I'm going to stitch, just to hold it in place, and I'm going to stitch around it. And I don't want to break my machine by gluing all around the edge. It's literally just to hold it in place. Where's my little thingy from? These are from a lovely lady that makes these on eBay. I'll have to give you the link for them. I've got one for my 3-in-1 glue and one for my art glitter glue. And they're brilliant. I've seen people like Tracy Fox make them herself as well, but I'm not that clever. Tracy's much cleverer than I am. Right. Not convinced about that piece, but we'll have a look. And I don't know whether to sort of pop. Do I want to put one in now? Do I want to? If I do, I don't think I want to do it at that side. Oh, I've got 2 as well. Ah. Do I want to stick one this side just under this bit of cheesecloth? I think I might. Down there. Yeah. Right. Let's see if that holds all in place. So my extra little scrappy bits, I'm going to chuck in the box over here that you've now realised you can't see. So this is my big pile of stuff that we're using. I love the challenge of these kits, you know, and I've done them a couple of times now, my own kits. And I just love the challenge of being restricted. If anybody's seen the pictures on my Instagram page, I'm just going to be stitching over here, by the way. If anybody has seen my Instagram page, I did put a picture on of my craft room when I was clearing it up, which gave the impression that it would now be tidy. It's definitely not. You can see, I think somebody described it as Aladdin's cave, which sounds fantastic. And it's just so full. There's just so much stuff. And I think when you've got loads and loads of stuff, you can get a bit, not overwhelmed, but a bit lost and a bit like, well, you've got so many things to choose from. Where can you possibly start? You know, how do you possibly decide? Do you want to watch me sew? How do you possibly decide what? Possibly decide what to use, where to start, how to, you know, what direction to go in when you've just got that much stuff. Yeah, you can get a bit lost, I think. So having a restricted amount of stash and materials to use, I think, just makes life easier. So anyway, shut up, Donna. See, I told you I waffle. I'm going to stitch around the edge. One good thing about the straight stitch, if you're not very good on the sewing machine like me, it's quite forgiving. You can go around a couple of times and make it look like your wonky stitches are on purpose, which is what I often do. And I sometimes even try and wonky my stitches genuinely on purpose because I like the look of it. So I'm going to go around a couple of times. I don't want it to look neat because that's no fun. Ooh. Yeah, I think I'm going to go around 3 times. I use quite a long stitch as well. If you use a shorter stitch, it's going to put your holes closer together when you're stitching paper, and you're going to find it becomes more brittle. It's not going to hold up as much. Put an extra stitch there, and it's going to be more prone to tearing, so just be cautious of that. What? Oh, there you are. What do you think? Yeah, I like it. So you've just got the little jelly print. I mean, it's literally a bit of book page with I think it's acrylic ink that I used on there. Just a little bit of a tag peeking out of the side, a little ticket. Yeah, I like that. I love her. So then, do I want to just stick it sort of, again, skew width on here, or do I want a layer of colour in the middle? If I cut, who am I kidding? If I tear down this bit, get myself some rough edges. Can you see what I'm doing? Because it's only scrapbook paper and it can be used elsewhere. Just to see the extra bits, if I were to do it like that, and then, is it a bit much? Oh, it's a bit much, isn't it? I think that on there, I think that on there will look better. So let me just shove that out the way. And then, yeah, I'm not convinced about that, actually. That red. Yeah, I think it's too red. So we want about here-ish. Some dodgy edges, and then I have got in the fabric, if I just bring that back in, some orangey tones that look a bit sort of rust coloured. Yeah, I like that on the back. So I'm going to use the smallest smidge of Distress Oxide Vintage Photograph, and I'm going to apply it with a brush rather than a an ink tool because it's just a softer look. And I don't know how much you can see of the colouring on there, but you don't get the harsher lines that you can sometimes get with the ink tools. And it's not a harsher sort of, if I were to go in like that, you get a bit more of a solid colour compared to a more of a delicate-y sort of colour there. So I think I'm going to do that. And then because it's an oxide, you can have a few splats of water. So I wonder if this is going to give me any. So I've got a couple of little splitty splat. Oh, that was a big one. Got a couple of wee drips on there. Just wonder if I dry them off a little bit. Where's my... Oh, it's taking it off entirely. That's not what I anticipated at all. You're not going to see any of this. I don't really know why I'm bothering, but it makes me feel better. Yeah. So that's just giving that sort of a softer edge. And then, again, my fave, walnut stain. God, we're nearly at an hour. Promise I'll be done in a sec. Just around the edge. Oh gosh, you zoomed in again. Just for that bit of definition. And I wonder if what I'm thinking is somewhere in my, I have a little box up here of like my commonly used bits of stuff. Haha! This is the one I'm looking for. Rusty hinge. Shove those back up. So there's some organisation. Now I'm going to do a splat. So if I'm going like this, am I going like this? Yeah, because I've already got a bigger bit at that side. Or am I going that way? No, I'm going like this. I want it to peek out here, so it needs to be there somewhere. So should we do a test splat on here? Yes, love it. And because I'm really sad, I'm going to dry that and that'll go in collage fodder for another day, because we don't waste stuff here. Yep, I'll go in my box. So it wants to be sort of here-ish. That's an unusual shape that we've just done. Let's dry that off. Yellowy as I thought. And I want a bit more there. I want another one. It's quite a big one. It was bigger than I anticipated. But let's try it. Yeah, better. I like. So, question, do I want a bit more stitching? Do I want to run a zigzag stitch down there and then just maybe adhere it on? There's my cover. I also think I want to ink that, because just putting that against the background then looks too blue on blue. There we go. I think I'm going to run a zigzag stitch down there, if you can see, down there, just so it peeks out. Zoom you out a little bit because you probably saw none of that. So, what I was looking at, the cover. We're going to have the doily as well, I think. We're definitely going with the vintagey doily. That's going to fold around the back. So we're just going to have a little bit of that. There. Oh God, the camera. There. And then she is going to go on like that. Oh, is that big enough? Does she need something else? She needs something else. She needs to be on the doily. Maybe the doily needs to be higher up. Maybe we need the doily to sort of break here. Is she too small? Do we need the extra bit of lace? And pull you back down here maybe. Pull that back down there. Have that up there. No, it does. It needs the lace, doesn't it? It needs some. Or does it? Or does it need the faux doily? That's too round. So do I turn that like that? Or do I go rogue and get some of my ye olde ledger? Do we have a bit of ledger paper underneath here? I might regret this, but I'm just literally going to take that bit off of my ridiculous. You see, 1870 this ledger's from. This is so old. Is that better? That's better, isn't it? Because she looks lost without it. So if I have that and that, yeah, I think we're doing that. I think we're doing that. I still think I want a stitch down here, so I'm just going to quickly run, just because I want a bit more texture. Oh. Just want a zigzaggy stitch down there. I think they're quite a wide one as well. Because I think when we add that on, oh, it's too far in, Donna. No, need another one. Need another one. And put another one there. I mean, that looks weird. But it's better. Can you see that? Yeah, those bits of texture just, I think bits like that, just lift it. And then if we're backing her on here, do I want anything on this? Do you know what? I think I'm just going to leave that. And I definitely want the date showing. Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. So we've gone 1:05 now, so I'm going to end it there. But we've kind of got the basis of the base of the journal, should I say. So next time we'll cut that down. This is going to be a long video, a long series. We're going to attach the doily. I'm going to decide if I want any pearls or anything on there, a bit of bling. We're going to have that. She will be stuck to that, and that will layer on the front, and that is going to be our journal. We still need to think if we want a closure. I'm not sure I do really. I'm not sure it's necessarily needed with a single signature for me, but we'll have a think. And yeah, I think that might be it. What do you reckon? I like her. I like the colours. I love the colours that I've picked out, and I think the little bit of oranges just make, and this has gone almost a bit of an orangey colour. Yeah, I like it. Cool. Right. Thanks for listening to my waffle. Yeah, see you next time. Bye.